Hi, everybody. Craig Shacklet here with URComp talking about Trio CRM, and we have a special guest today, Suzanne Ferreri, casino host with Viejas Casino Resort near San Diego. Suzanne, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So you've been using Trio for, I guess, around 2 months now, maybe not quite 2 months, but I know it's changed a lot already. So tell us what's changed for you since Trio was installed at Viejas.
Trio has made our jobs so much more efficient. For example, like instead of having to send an email to the hotel and then get on your phone and text the guest and then go back to the hotel and then go back to the guest, and you're doing all these steps, to book a trip out for a guest, it's all in one place. And it just makes life so much easier because you can book the trip, talk to the guest, talk to the hotel to follow up all in one spot, and you don't have to leave that screen on your phone. So it just frees you up to do so many other things. It's amazing.
So before Trio, and I know I've seen a lot of CRMs at a lot of different casinos. So before, you'd be communicating with the player with your work cell phone, and then you'd have to either switch applications in your phone or get in front of your laptop and send an email to the hotel, and you're waiting for so you're saying you're using multiple devices and now it's all one screen?
One screen. Super easy. Very, computer simple for people who maybe they're not into all the technology or whatever. It's very easy to use, and it's just bam, all on one screen.
I love hearing that. And it sounds like just serving, inbound requests. This has made it so much easier to book. Now, maybe tell me about how selling an event has changed. If you've got a tournament or you just got rooms you need to fill, what was it like before and what's it like since with Trio?
So before we would have to individually contact every single person that was on a list and go through text, not that we couldn't copy paste a text, but it's just such a pain to do that, to send and then change hi Mr. Smith to hi Mr. Jones, whatever, send everything through this. Because there is the ability to have templates, you could send like, here's all the people from my event. It fills in all the information that you need it to do. I don't have to sit there and edit every single thing. And it's just like, bam, again, it's so quick. And I could send double the amount of invites that I would normally have time to do.
And just to be clear, because I think a lot of people may get a misconception, because there are a lot of casinos have text messaging software, and it comes from like a 5-digit number, and it's obvious when you get it. It's it's a generic text, and most people just delete it. Whereas this, like, tell us how it comes across. I mean, you can make it personalized, and then even though you're using a template, it's not all cookie cutter. You can edit it on the fly, right?
Correct. Yeah. No, you could still edit it, and I think, like, my guests think, even though I'm kind of sending the same thing out to everyone, but because maybe I know that this certain person, just had a birthday too, I might throw that in there as well. So it's not like you don't have to do just like one size fits all. You can edit it, but even so, it's so much easier because everything's in one place.
It makes total sense. And so now you're able to reach out to more customers. Do you feel like it's helped you book more business?
Oh yeah. I mean, our events have been, the last few ones we've had are really, really good. And I really attribute it to Trio because, like I said, you can get so much more done faster.
And I think, don't do the best job marketing Trio, because I emphasize a lot about the text messaging, because I think that most players nowadays want to communicate by text. I mean, that's just kind of what we've seen, but it does, but you are able to call as well, right? So I don't know, how has your way you communicate with players changed since putting in Trio? Are you finding you're talking on the phone more or less? Are you texting more? Are you email more? Like, what has anything changed? Like, how you communicate?
For me, I was always a big email and texter. I was never a big phone call person, just because 9 chances out of 10 they didn't answer the phone. They'd see a number, they didn't answer the phone. I actually do more text than I even did before, and probably less emails. And I think I'm just a texter. And I think that's the way, like you said, people that's how they want to communicate. That way they can answer you when they want. If they're busy, they don't have to answer right away. They don't have to get a voicemail. Emails end up in spam, whatever. To me, it's just so much easier that way.
So what has changed about your days off since Trio's been installed?
You can actually have days off, which is nice. Someone like me I'm very accessible to my guests, and I want to be accessible to my guests, but there are times where, for example, like I went out last night and I was like, I'm out. It was great because normally when we go out, I'm looking at the phone like once an hour to make sure no one needs me, blah, blah, blah. I could actually have like a 3-hour dinner and not have to think about, oh my gosh, who is texting me, because I know it's taken care of by the other hosts, and they're great at it. They're absolutely fantastic at taking care of my guests when I'm not there. And then if there is an emergency or whatever, I can get it. But I don't have that like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of dinner and I have to add free play. You really do have it was because last night was the first time I really have been out since we've been using Trio, and it was so different. It was like a weight off your shoulders, honestly. You actually have a life.
I love that. That is, we may use that as a slogan for Trio, like give your host a life outside of work.
Your host will have a life, I promise you.
And how is that been? Because obviously, I think one of the things that people worry about when Trio comes in is maybe letting go of, trusting other hosts on the team to do a good job servicing your players. Because obviously someone like you hold yourself to a high standard. And so tell us about that. How has that transition been to going from like, you're the only one to trusting your teammates?
Well, it's a little bit tough at first because you are so used to how we're also personalized how we give our service to our guests. And there's those certain guests that you take care of a certain way. But with Trio having everything tracked, with the emails being tracked and the texts being tracked, I know when I jump on someone else's conversation, I could see how they do things. Okay, I see how they always book this person in this type of hotel or whatever it is, and I can adapt myself to the way they do things. We have, a standard across the board, of course, but those kind of little personal touches you can see. And of course, they're going to tell your guests, hey, she's not here. I'm here to help you. And I mean, the guest response is fantastic because they're just like, oh, good. I don't have to wait 2 hours till they get in the office to, get an answer. I want free play right now or whatever it is. So it's extremely adaptable, and it really does help you trust your teammates even more than we did, because you see, oh my gosh, they really are doing the best they can and taking care of my guests. And I think it's fostered, a better team atmosphere with us.
Well, that is awesome to hear. Good questions, good ideas don't come in very often, so I need to like grab them as soon as they pass by. So I think some people may be hesitant or worry about Trio, like, oh, it's gonna freak out my player that somebody else is replying to them. But I know we've seen, and it sounds like you've seen, that isn't the case. So what has been your experience with players when either you're filling in for another host or another host is kind of covering you? What's been the general response you've gotten from players?
We've had a really good response. And I think when we first, set out the new number and let everyone we were going to have, let the guests know we were going to have Trio. And we explained, this is a new system. If I'm not here, somebody else can pick up the call, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to wait. And I never heard a bad response. They want an answer. You know what I mean? And of course, there's personal things they want to tell us, and let them know that we'll get to those things as soon as we get in. But and then when we do send the texts or the emails or whatever back and say, hey, I'm so and so, your host isn't in. Here's what I could do for you. It's not like, well, where's my host? It's okay. Thanks for helping. I think I think that is a little bit unfounded I understand the concern, but you don't have to be concerned.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's a natural concern, but ultimately players, they just want to get what they need taken care of. And they love you and they want you to be their point person. But if you're out, they also want their host to have a life. They don't want to feel like, they're they can never get away and recharge. So I think players actually appreciate that there's somebody covering them and letting you get some time off.
Right, exactly.
I don't think I asked you this already, but I love hearing about it, and I think most managers want their hosts to actually have time off and enjoy their days off and come back recharged and refreshed and ready to work. But they also want to know about the bottom line. So, do you feel like Trio has helped you book more business?
Yes, I do. It's so much easier to get, because depending on how big your book is, there's those people, they just tend to fall through the cracks. They're the quiet ones. They don't ask for much. They don't, and this is so easy to just, with those templates and the different things, it's so easy to just go, oh, here's all these people that maybe I don't see that often, or like I said, they're the quiet ones. So you could just send them a quick text, hey, I'm thinking about you. Do you need anything? Here's my info. And I find that they're like, oh, yeah, you know what? I don't normally talk to you, but now that I'm thinking about it, I want a hotel stay, So it makes it easier to kind of reach those people, because everything else you're doing, it becomes so efficient that you have the time now to hit those couple ones. So I think bringing those people in that sort of fall through the cracks a little bit, like I said, is helping for sure.
So you come in from a couple days off, or just, you come in the morning or afternoon. What do you do? Like, how do you start your day? What's your day? How's your day organized with Trio?
So the first thing I do is get on and I check the chats just to see if I have anyone pending that's mine. Answer those real quick if I need. And then what I do is I go into, there's a great screen called host status. And you could kind of see like, oh, maybe I missed this one email or something. And you're like, I could go in there and just make sure that I have everything caught up that I need to do, zero all of those out, and then go from there. And you can start like, okay, here's my list of who I need to contact today. Find them in Trio, send out a quick text, boom, you're done. And you could get all that done in an hour. You're like, now I'm free to walk the floor and I could go see people in person, and I'm not feeling like I'm tied to the computer all night,
And so you're able to do all this activity. And one thing I've heard from a lot of hosts, and about being a host, you have to do all this stuff, and then you have to go into your CRM and log that you did all this stuff. And that's the last thing you want to do after doing a lot of stuff. So what is it like with Trio, with regards to making sure your management can see that you're busy? How has that changed with Trio?
Well, I don't have to try to remember every single conversation I had or write down every single person I contacted, so I could load it in a system to say I did it. I do it in Trio. They see it in real time. They want to know if I'm busy. They could see that I'm busy. It's right there. I don't have to be like, oh, shoot, I forgot about Mr. Jones the other day, and we had a 5-hour conversation, whatever, So, my VP can sit there and just, she sees everything I'm doing, what I'm saying. It's also good because she can coach you to certain things. Like, hey, I saw you said this. Oh, don't forget about this event. And it's really good because we have each other's back on that. It's nice. It's just nice. I love Trio, and my friends that are hosts at different places, I'm like, you guys, I got a new system. Like, you're gonna be so jealous. And they're like, we hate you. This sounds awesome. And I'm like, yep, sorry, we're cool. You're not.
I love hearing that. You made the whole interview for me by saying that. So thank you.
I'm touting it for you. I'm like, you guys got to get this, but I don't want you to have what I have, because what I have is the best. So. No, I wish you guys success. I do. Great.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I can tell you've already had a ton of success with it, and we're only a month and a half in, and I think I'm looking forward to doing this again in a few months and hearing just kind of what's developed, how you've been using Trio, and hear about some more successes. So thank you for your time today, and hopefully we can do it again in a few months.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. See you, Craig.